This is the key of F. It's a little bit low, but I sang very high last time, so I'll start here. Into the realm of the PL-89, into the realm of the higher time, into the realm of Messiah time. It is simple to sing the tune. Match the sun up with the moon. With the sun and before the moon, as per Psalm 72. It's true. Please see Psalm 72, verse 5. Yirocha im shemesh v'avnei reach dordorim. The two calendars are one. Match the moon up with the sun. Yaakov and Esav, Tikkun and Tohu, and with that our work is done. And with that our work is done. And with that our work is done. It's fun. Okay. Last time I sang it in the same key of F, but it was on the high one. Into the realm of the PL-89. It's fine over there, but when I go into the realm, it's a little too high. So, gotta work with the range that you have. There's a story about Reb Zusha that when he said he had some kind of a vision or in his imagination, maybe when he came to God after he leaves this world, and he said God won't tell him, why didn't you achieve? Because apparently his brother was greater in learning or something like that. Why weren't you Elimelech? But why weren't you Zusha? That's what he's going to ask me. We're all given something. So we're not going to be held accountable for what we are not created to be, for somebody else. But we will be held accountable for what we are and what we are able to do and our capabilities. So that story came in because I was relating it to some people have a greater range, better voice, different voice. Everyone is meant for something. And that's what I think many people have to learn, myself included, is to appreciate and what you have and use it to the fullest. Maximize on your potential to the most that anyone can do. And that's all that God requires from each one of us. So with that, focusing on things that I can do and I've been given an ability to do is to create a calendar called the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar. And it is mathematical in nature. It deals with numbers. It deals with keeping track of things, of history, keeping an account of history. And it also has to do with a reconciliation of sorts. And it's based on teachings of the sages that come from the Torah, and the calendars and the timelines that lead unto the eventual final and complete redemption of the Jewish people and humanity at large, mankind. And because it's mathematical, I deal in numbers and not with philosophical viewpoints or even religious claims. I only deal in mathematics, and the mathematics should show what is reasonable. It's maybe not a completely innovative approach. I've seen this spoken of where people had endeavored to seek the truth through mathematics alone. And I suppose I read that, some people saying that, and it inspired me to, and I was inclined to follow that path. And so, gematria is something I think that is very much overlooked. The depth and its ability to reach conclusive answers on truth claims in the Bible and elsewhere through mathematical processes, through gematria and counting. And that includes letter counting and word counting, and the numerical values of letters and words, and acronyms, and things of that kind, codes of that sort. This calendar is two calendars in one, like the song says. It's a lunar calendar, the Jewish calendar, Hebrew calendar, on which today is Yom Shishi, the 6th day of the week, the 2nd day of Nisan, 5786, and it's a solar calendar, on which today, the Gregorian calendar is a solar calendar, a 365-day calendar, and on which today is March 20th. And the parsha of the week is Vayikra, and the Daf Yomi is Menachot 68. And that's very important. The Daf Yomi is important. The Daf Yomi is the practice of learning a page of Talmud on a daily basis to complete the entire Talmud, which is 2,711 pages, every 7.5 years, around 7 years and approximately 5 months. And every 7.5 years, or 7 years and 5 months, there is a great celebration called a Siyum, and it's held, and it's a worldwide event with major venues in the East Coast, like in New Jersey, New York, and in Israel, Baltimore, Los Angeles. I mean, every major city has these Siyums, and this has been going on since 1923. And that's so it turned 100 a few years ago. So this year, God willing, September time, it started on the 2nd day of Rosh Hashanah. I think the 2nd day. Rosh Hashanah, the year 5784, which was September 11th, interesting number, of 1923. And there's a lot of reasons and thoughts behind that, but that would take too much time to share now. But it goes into some kind of study, a theory that I've had, and trying to substantiate it over the years. And the way this works is this is a 90-day period of time, which is a 90-day or 3 months is described in Tanakh at least 3 times that I can recount right now, and maybe more, but 3 times that can give a picture of why it is 3 months. This is 8 columns and 10 rows, so it's 80 days. And then there's an invisible line here known as the 10-day twilight period that represents the last 10 days in any cycle. And so it's 90 days, which is a quarter of a year, roughly for either way, for solar or lunar. And this it's called the mercurial year because Mercury's orbit around the sun is around that time, 87 point something days, which is about 3 months. And the 3 months in the Torah, I'll go for them briefly. 2 in the Torah and 1 in Navi. The first one chronologically happens with the story of Judah and Tamar in Genesis chapter 38, when Tamar dressed up as a harlot, and that kind of bizarre incident with Judah and how she became pregnant from him, and her twins, Peretz it's the lineage of the Messiah. And so it says, the verse there says, and it was ki mi shalosh kadashim. It was about 3 months when they saw her that she was pregnant and they wanted to burn her because they thought she committed adultery or did some or acted licentiously or that was worthy of being killed. But Judah fessed up. He stood up and said that she is more righteous than him, and that he's the one who did it. He's the one who actually slept with her. So I don't understand why she was more righteous. At the end of the day, she did dress up like a prostitute, and kind of it deceptively became pregnant with him. So I don't see why that's so righteous. But maybe there's something more to it that I don't understand. Maybe that dark and deceptive, sort of like shady way is something there's something deeper to it. In terms of Geula, in that we don't always see how the salvation will come. And sometimes it comes in very weird, bizarre ways. And that's just one takeaway. When he says, "You are more righteous than I," it hardly looks like a righteous act. Deceiving your father-in-law, dressing up as a prostitute, deceiving him and getting pregnant from him, and he says, "You're more righteous than me." How is that righteous? And what universe is that righteous? But he did, at the end of the day, he did the deed, and he sowed the seed. Let's put it that way. And just figured I'd roll with it. Sometimes puns are fun, but sometimes you can get carried away. But anyway, let's continue. That was 3 months, and so it's messianic. My point is that it's messianic, and the next 3 months is in Exodus chapter 2 with Moses. Moses, it says in Exodus chapter 2 that a man from the house of Levi took a woman from the house of Levi, a daughter of the house of Levi, and had a child. We know to be Amram, Moses' father, and Yocheved, his mother. And the edict of Pharaoh was to kill every firstborn son, male, all the firstborn boys. So it says, "Batitzpaneu shlosha irachim." She hid him for 3 months, and so that's another 3 months, and we see that Moses is the first sort of hero, the national redeemer, which also is a picture of Messiah. He's a kind of Messiah, a kind of Mashiach, or Moshiach, Savior, if you will, who brought the children of Israel out through God's miraculous work. He was the shliach, to the point where he said, "Shlachna biad tishlach," send who you will send. Which, when I see that verse, he didn't want to go, but he said, "Send the Mashiach, the real one, the actual Mashiach." And so there's another instance of 3 months in terms of a messianic time frame. And the third case of 3 months is in Navi, in the story of King David at Peretz Uzzah, when the ark was to be moved from some place. I don't know the details. It's from some place in Jerusalem to somewhere else, or from somewhere else to somewhere else in Jerusalem, some place to another place. And while they were traveling, someone named Uzzah, who was, I think, a Levite, who was in charge of transporting the ark, he touched it, and then he got zapped. He immediately died. And so David was distraught because of this, and he called the place Peretz Uzzah, where Uzzah was. Peretz means like break forth or something. Yeah, it means break forth, but Peretz means like, I guess he was shocked or zapped or whatever. He was. Peretz has a connotation of ramming or breaking in or bursting forth. So I'm not sure how that connects exactly to it, but anyway, that's what he named it. And so it continues on to say that he gave the ark, he put the ark in someone's house by the name of Oved Edom for this period of time, for 3 months, Shlosh Chadashim, which is interesting. And it says that while I don't know if Oved Edom touched it, maybe he didn't touch it. Uzzah apparently touched it. Uzzah for sure touched it. It says he touched it and he died. But Oved Edom, it says when he had the ark in his house, he and his family were blessed by it. So it's interesting that the effects of the ark have that it can kill someone and it can bless someone. But the point is, it says it stayed at his house for 3 months, and that's also something that's curious. Like, why 3 months? Well, that's the third instance in Tanakh of this period of time. Now, we have this period of time 4 times in a year, and 4 itself is a whole study on its own, from Genesis, the 4 rivers, and 4 many things. But that's going to take too long. But so it's 3 periods of time. We could say the 12 tribes of Israel, 4 times 3, a year. It goes on and on. But the point is that within this calendar, it's that 3-month period of time that combines the sun and the moon. So there's a Gregorian calendar. So you'll find March 20th in here on one of these boxes, and you're going to find Nisan 2 in one of these boxes. And so the process is, gematriatically, and there's 3 dispensations. I won't go through that. That's too long. But the dispensation we're in right now is the 3rd dispensation. It's actually coming to its completion, like with great joy and trepidation and pomp and circumstance. I almost feel like I'm graduating. Feels like I'm graduating high school or something. That feeling of like right before you graduate and you go out into the world and it's a whole new world, and that's what it feels like now, because this has been worked on for 14 years. It started in early 2012, and now it's completing in the Omer time of 2026, 14 full years, and its use will be actually in late summer in Elul, but it started in Passover time of 2012, and how different the world was then. But anyway, according to the lunar calendar, which is Nisan 2, the box would be 7 right here in dispensation 3. Okay, and according to the solar calendar, which is March 20th, the box is going to be 25 right here. Now, how the numbers got here is its own study, also too long to... I've described it before, and I most likely will explain it again. But for now, just showing the process of how it's done. Okay, you take the solar number and the lunar number, you add them together. So 7 and 25 is 32. And so now the number, the PL-89 number for today is 32. So then there's a process that you write 32 as a word, THIRTYTWO, and you get that number. Then you take that number, you make that a word. Number, word, back and forth. And until it gets to a point, there's a point that it comes to, which I call the event horizon, where only a few more iterations after that, it repeats. And that's the process of the connectivity of this math that I'm involved in, that is something between mathematics and data science. I'm still looking for a collaborator who might have understanding of the nexus between math, alphanumeric maths, arithmetic, basically, but it's also a little bit more than that. It's more like, it's cryptography, but there's something even more than that. It's like how numbers, it might even be pure mathematics. It's how numbers themselves function in relation to other numbers and patterns. I don't know what that branch is called, but that's what it is. And where that meets meets, it could be combinatorics. From what I've read about combinatorics, it might be a touch of that. It takes elements of all those, number theory, and where that meets data science and the science of how data is gathered. And that's what this calendar is really all about. And looking very, very much forward to this Omer time of the year 5786. And we'll see what is in store for us up ahead. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.